Good morning. Good morning. My name is William Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We are thrilled that you are taking a little time out of your busy day to check us out. It is the Ides of December, the 15th of December. And it's kind of an interesting day here in West Central Florida. It's raining. This is our dry season, and it's raining like it's June 15th, which is our wet season. It's dark and gloomy and rainy outside, and it's going to get a little chilly this weekend. This is a front coming through, apparently. I learned that from the weather people in our area. It's a front coming through, and behind that front is some cool weather. I'm not looking forward to it. Y'all know I don't like being cold. And I don't need it. I don't need it to be cold at Christmas time. I don't. It can be 95 degrees at Christmas time. I'm like, yeah, man, yeah, Christmas in Florida. That's what's up. Anyway, we've got some stories today that I think that you're going to enjoy, um, and some things coming up that I think you're going to like. The folks at Epic Times has an interesting piece that we're going to delve in, and we're only going to delve into this piece on Rumble. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please watch the Rumble feed and the Fight Back Media feed on this, because this has to do with a doctor that has frankly changed their mind about vaccine efficacy and safety. So we're not going to do that video here on YouTube. No reason to poke the bear. We're not monetized to start with, and working on my wife's channel, so there's no reason to poke the bear. We can talk about that over there. Join us over there on Rumble. Join us on fightbackmedia.com, and we'll talk about it there. All right, we need a little break. We'll be back with more of the program right after these messages. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler, that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. Well, hey there. Again, my name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Glad that you are here today. This is Paul Pelosi and, of course, your girl Nancy Pelosi. And we're all, you remember a month or so ago, 2 months ago or so, that the attack of Paul Pelosi at their residence was dominating the news cycle. Absolutely dominating the news cycle. Why? Because the idea was that some deranged right-wing conservative ultra MAGA person broke into their house looking for Nancy Pelosi, and ended up hitting Paul Pelosi in the head with a hammer, causing him to have brain surgery, because we're just out of control and we are violent, right? That was the narrative that was being pushed by mainstream media, by the legacy media, right? And so it was everywhere. It was on MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN. It was everywhere, right? And I always, my advice to conservatives a lot of times, or at least Republicans, is keep your powder dry. Wait for it, because oh my goodness, here comes the truth. Because it seems forever since David Pepe hammered Paul Pelosi in one of the most bizarre home invasions ever to occur or not to occur on American soil. The attack unfolded in late October. The Pepe broke into the home, though there is little evidence of forced entry, and the only glass that we saw is on the outside, which is not indicative. And you don't have to be, I don't know, Barnaby Jones. That's an old reference, I know. To think that if somebody was breaking into a house and they hit the glass with a hammer, that the glass would be on the outside, the glass would be on the inside. You don't have to be Cannon, you don't have to be Barnaby Jones, you just don't. But in any case, I digress. The police body camera footage is not being released, nor the security camera footage from the home is not being released. So apparently the Pepe, who wore nothing but underwear, just waltzed into the home armed with hammers, and attacked Mr. Pelosi, who was also able to abscond to the bathroom to make an emergency phone call, describing the Pepe as, quote, a friend. Also, Mr. Pelosi was the one who let officers in before the Pepe reportedly hit him on the head with a hammer, which unfortunately required brain surgery. So what we're supposed to believe is that somehow Paul Pelosi got to the door to let the cops in, while the Pepe in his underwear has a hammer. And then before San Francisco's finest can react, strikes Paul Pelosi in the head with a hammer. I guess while the cops were watching. So the media was off of the races. They were seeing QAnon posting from the Pepe and trying to make it a right-wing lunatic narrative. But it quickly down the vine, because for starters, the Pepe is an illegal alien from Canada who obviously suffers from mental illness. Listen, the dude tried to buy a birdhouse for a fairy that he was in contact with daily. He had rantings about the 2020 election. So you can see how the media was hoping this guy was a conservative. They were hoping. And you know, even if he was registered Republican, it's kind of not a conservative. You know, stop letting people put, you know, peanuts in my jar. Nope, that doesn't go there. This guy's not a conservative. This guy's not a Christian. Doesn't go in there. I don't care how much the media wants to go in there. He isn't based on the paraphernalia at his alleged home, which was decorated with Antifa, BLM, and gay pride flags. So over at PJ Media, the Pepe's son describes his father as a progressive Green Party supporter. Here's what his son says. As David Pepe was getting ready for the preliminary hearing for the attack on Paul Pelosi, his son was giving an interview. 19-year-old Nesvod Sky Gonzalez, the Pepe's biological son, spoke with the Daily Mail. Gonzalez's view of his father differs from the image of the ultra-MAGA right-wing maniac who was accused of attacking Pelosi after demanding to know the whereabouts of then Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Where's Nancy? According to Gonzalez, the Pepe said that when he was a toddler, his grandmother dumped a pot of boiling water on him. The Pepe would often escape to the beach to avoid the abuse. The Pepe, said Gonzalez, was regularly bullied in school and never had many friends as an adult. Gonzalez added that when he and his siblings were younger, the Pepe would take them to the beach and park and try to be the best father he could be. But Gonzalez said that the Pepe did not do much to improve the family finances. His main occupation seemed to have been making bracelets. Gonzalez's mother, Oxen Gypsy Taub, kicked the Pepe out of the home following a fight. And Gonzalez has not had contact with the Pepe since that time. Taub is, I guess, his mother. This is juicy. Is currently serving time at a California Institute for Women in Chino, California. According to Gonzalez, the Pepe said that the Republican and Democrat parties are nothing more than colors and covers, and held that the policies of the individuals matter. Gonzalez believes that the Pepe may have been a member of the Green Party, adding, "My father had progressive views. He believed in human rights, equality, and justice. He was against the war. He was a peace activist, hardly a right-wing activist, right-wing conservative, as he has been branded." A Green Party progressive who supports BLM and Antifa is also some sort of white right-wing lunatic influenced by too many GOP ads attacking Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, which led to the home invasion. So you can see how this narrative just went poof. And now his son has delivered the kill shot about about this being a conservative influence assault. The Pepe was reportedly asking where Pelosi was when he entered the residence. She was safe in Washington, D.C. The assault on Mr. Pelosi was perpetrated by a mentally ill left-wing zealot staying in the U.S. illegally, an illegal alien from Canada, progressive nut job named Paul. Excuse me, Hammered Paul. California, little weirdos. But are we going to hear this in the legacy media? Well, the answer is no. Chances are the only place that you heard it or you're going to hear it is right here on the Morning Report. So share this with your friends. Share this with your friends. It's the only time they're going to hear it. The only time they're going to find out what's actually happening. The only time. So is it okay now? Because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's.
Yeah, we talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
All right. Again, my name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report on fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. And behind you is the Washington Post. The Washington Post. And the Washington Post is supposed to be one of those, those newspapers of record, right? They're supposed to be one of those sources that is the deal. If it was in the Washington Post or the New York Times, it might as well have been written in, on stone tablets and brought down by Moses. But it is interesting how things have changed. The Washington Post took a subtle dig at independent journalists Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss for their work on the Twitter files. This is interesting. This is all because we just talked. We just did the story about Paul Pelosi and his attacker, and how media so badly wanted to be some ultra mega conservative, because conservative is they're trying to change the definition of that word to be synonymous with bigot and homophobe and xenophobic. Conservative, and that's what it's supposed to equal: racist, right? Remember that. So that Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi did some work on the Twitter files, and they were asked by Elon Musk to do that. They were given access. So, and it was exposing all the internal documents at the social media giant that had showed some of the most controversial decisions at the company prior to Elon Musk's takeover. Now, I guess we can call it controversial. The idea is that a lot of us already knew, although we might not have known the times and dates, but we knew the players and we knew the actions, because the actions we could see. So in a report published Monday evening about the site's Trust and Safety Council getting dissolved, well, yeah, they need to redo all that. Washington Post labeled Taibbi and Weiss as conservative journalists. Let me get some coffee. As head of Trust and Safety at Twitter, Roth was involved in many of the platform decisions about what posts to remove and what accounts to suspend. His communications with other Twitter officials have been posted in recent days as a part of what Musk calls the Twitter files, a series of tweets by conservative journalists Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss. Did you know that Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss were conservative journalists? Taibbi, who was a Substack writer, once covered politics for the Rolling Stone. The Rolling Stone. You know, the Rolling Stone. And describes himself as a, quote, run-of-the-mill, old-school ACLU liberal. Weiss, however, you might remember this, meanwhile previously served as the the op-ed editor at the New York Times. So you got this dude, Taibbi, who used to write for the Rolling Stone. When you get your picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone, right? And then you got Barry Weiss, who used to work for the New York Times. So of course, neither is considered conservative. But as critics pointed out, that label has become a smear. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the word conservative equal racist, bigot, homophobe, xenophobe, Islamophobe, right? And the thing is that we just can't let it be like that. So, and then if they could slap the label conservative on it, then they just discount it. Abigail Shrier tweeted, quote, conservative is just a smear to mainstream media. It has no other meaning except to brand someone as unworthy, to signal to his readership that such a person can be safely ignored. That's what it's about. Benjamin Carlson tweeted, conservative is no longer an ideological label. It's a cue to the audience to dismiss the person without consideration. Megan Murphy tweeted, it's ridiculous that these people believe in tacking a conservative label on someone should function as a means to discredit them. But it's more ridiculous how willing they are to lie in order to discredit people who report information they don't like. Michael Tracy tweets this, hilarious. Conservative journalist now means anyone whose journalistic practice doesn't revolve around parroting standard left liberal pieties 24/7. The Post eventually stealthily edited the label after Fox News Digital asked about it, but no editor's note was issued indicating a correction took place. This is hilarious, Taibbi told Fox about the Post report. Anyone who steps out of line in any way is labeled conservative or pro-Trump. It's automatic and predictable. So this is what we're dealing with. So what we have to do is make sure that we know what we're looking at. And I've always said this, we have to know what we are looking at. And we have to consider the source. What we can't do is that we can't react to everything we see, because that's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose of this. It is to wear us out. If you read the book, Rules for Radicals, get it. This one was $15. It was kind of expensive for a little paperback book, but it's in here. All the stuff is in here. Let me see if I get that thumbnail. There you go. It's all in there. And the thing is just to wear us out. Wear us out. It's the very same thing that the devil does to Christians. Just keep this crap going until we are just worn out, which means we can't react to everything. We have to understand it and move on. Or we can take the opposite track, that we can say that everything conservative is good. We can start saying that these lovely conservative nuns, these conservative blah 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 blah, and write our own narrative. We've been saying this forever. Write our own narrative, not try to discredit or push back the leftist narrative on what they're doing. No. Maybe someone needs to write something as ridiculous as a dictionary. Yes, doesn't seem like that would be something that would make any money as a damn dictionary. And most of the things in the dictionary would be whatever it is now. I mean, the definition of coffee would be the same. The definition of a book would be the same. The definition of watch would be the same. And frankly, the definition of woman, man, child, pedophile would all be the same as we're used to. But I think it's important to make sure that those definitions continue moving through in a major way. So maybe someone that now it's insane that we have to do this, but we might need to write a dictionary. We might need to write our own dictionary, a dictionary that we hand our children. Let me tell you a quick story before I let you go. You guys know that I'm a musician, and a long time ago, well, in 30 or 40 years ago, there was these things called fake books. They're still out there, but a fake book was a bound book of copyright violations. Somebody would pin a tune that was probably copyrighted by somebody else. He'd pin a tune, jazz tune, or not, and somebody would compile those tunes in a book. Now, when I first started looking for a fake book, they were called fake books, from the phrase, do you know this tune? No, I'm a few bars and I'll fake it, right? They were about $50, and only a few people I knew had an address where if you sent $50 in a money order or whatever, you would hope to get this brown, paper covered package back in a few weeks with one of these books in it. And the pages were all photocopied from or Xeroxed, from these old Xerox machines. Some of them you could barely read, and you had no. I mean, and there was no complaint department because what they were doing was highly illegal, right? Highly illegal. So what the major publishing houses did, after spending years and probably millions of dollars going after these people, they decided, oh, I know, we own the copyright to a lot of these tunes. How about if we put them in a book ourselves and sell those to people? They want them. And they call it the real book. Not the fake book, but the real book. And now real books are readily available everywhere in your local music store. You can go online. Real books are readily available everywhere. Everybody has real books. We learn tunes by using real books. And the tunes that we don't have memorized, we might reach down in our bag and grab the real book and find a real book and find it and play it on a gig. We might, right? Because we don't have fake books anymore. We might have to do that as conservatives in a lot of areas. Listen to what I'm saying, in a lot of areas. Because the Cambridge Dictionary, Merriam-Webster's dictionary, just became the fake book because of the definition of woman, the definition of man. Those are now the fake books. We need to come up with a real dictionary. Here's what's real. Men cannot have babies. No. Men don't have periods. Men can't have babies. It's biology. Not hate. It's biology. The fake book wants to tell you that it's hate. The real book will tell you biology. Let's participate in the real book. Let's ignore the fake book. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or a phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com. And you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. All right, hey y'all. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Here's some good news. This is not good news. This is the news that is not being reported. Not being reported anywhere. But fortunately, after an outcry from conservatives and Republican lawmakers who weren't willing to betray the GOP's commitment to the rule of law, legal immigration, and border security, in an attempt to grant mass amnesty to DACA beneficiaries, is, according to a reporting on last night, officially dead. Priscilla Alvarez tweeted this: the long shot bipartisan immigration deal led by Senator Tom Tillis and Kristen Sinema is dead, this Congress, sources say. Senator John Cornyn and other members of the GOP leadership said that it was a scant Republican support for the plan, which has yet to be released as legislative text. Like, this was just an idea. This is like when you throw something against the wall and see if it sticks. Well, it didn't stick, and it shouldn't stick. Sort of unsurprisingly, the fatally flawed legislative framework that was supposed to gin up support on both sides of the political aisle in the U.S. Senate did exactly the opposite, as Republicans who limped across the midterm election finish line with barely a majority in the House and a loss in the Senate were not ready to hitch their names to a bill that was toxic among Republican voters. Matt Vespa reported the whole plan was a disaster from the start. Here's what Matt said. Senate Republicans and now ex-Democrats are trying to push through a bill granting amnesty to millions of illegal aliens. Senator Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, and Kristen Sinema, independent from Arizona, who just left the Democrat Party, are the brain trust of this legislation that is sure to infuriate the rest of the conservative base when they read the fine print. On the other side, keep looking for how the major labor unions, who are no fans of rampant illegal immigration, react to the bill. There will be no hearings that would expose the grand amnesty plan. 2 million recipients of Obama's deferred action for childhood arrivals will get put on the pathway to citizenship. Still, they can sponsor extended families once they're through the process. It doesn't resolve the immigration issue, doesn't secure the border, or take off the table for either party. All it does is reset the clock for another mass amnesty action for the next generation, because these bills will undoubtedly incentivize more people to come here if they know that Washington will citizenship track them eventually. So a lot of people will just wait it out. You know, what's different is other people from around the world than Americans is that they have more patience. They will just wait it out. The framework for the bill, because no text has been released, was so bad that even President Joe Biden said he was encouraged by the proposal, which told conservatives everything that we needed to know. If Biden thought the framework was hopeful, a hopeful sign of progress, it is definitely a deeply flawed idea. Biden still won't admit that there's a crisis at the border, and has spent more time falsely smearing brave border agents than he has trying to stop the unmitigated flow of illegal immigrants, including a frightening number of individuals on the terror watch list into this country. If someone that deluded about reality thinks your legislative proposal to grant citizenship to DACA adults, see, they're not kids anymore. It's a step in the right direction. Any sane Republican would have immediately turned around and run. Now, when they spoke to us about DACA recipients, these were children that were brought to the United States by their parents against their will. Well, not even against their will. I mean, mom and dad are going across the border. Like, you see these children here, so you're going too. And now you're here and you're 8 years old. Your parents broke the law. They did. They broke federal laws. But you're here. Are you going to be held responsible for what your parents did? Probably not. Well, this is where this is hard. But now you're an adult. You don't get citizenship because your parents brought you here illegally. And it's a shame. And this is the hard part. This is always the hard part because liberty is very, very difficult. Yeah, I know your parents brought you here when you were 8 and you couldn't leave and because you didn't know where to go. I get it. But you can't be a citizen because you were brought here illegally. And if there's a way to do it, the Fight Back Media doctrine is go back to Mexico or wherever your national origin is, if you can, and apply for citizenship the correct way. Now you have an advantage. You have an American education. You speak the language, hopefully. You already have a leg up. Now you just have to use some of that patience. So thankfully, for now, it seems enough solidly conservative lawmakers did exactly that. Hence the amnesty deal's demise. Now the question remains whether a similar deal will be attempted again in the new Congress. Well, the idea is, of course it will, because they never stop. I can't convince you folks. They never stop. And when Republicans get in charge of anything, have the advantage in the House or have the advantage in the Senate, what they don't do is they never push the ball forward. They're like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They win a Super Bowl and then push the ball forward the next year. Now we'll just run up the middle. We'll get stopped, run up the middle, get stopped, run up the middle, get stopped, and then punt. And then blame the fans for non-support. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.